When you think of wrestling cities, you think of Chicago, Philadelphia, New York. And I'm a person that really likes to dive into stadiums and venues and even cities' history with professional wrestling. So that's why I've decided to start this new series on cities and their venues and what memorable moments have came out of there. Even talk about some of the wrestlers that came out of there. Now this will mainly be focusing on WCW and WWE, but if they've done something with AEW, I do not mind bringing that up too. So you'll see that later in maybe episodes on Chicago and stuff. But since the Royal Rumble will be in San Antonio this weekend, I decided the first pit stop we're going to make is San Antonio, where we will cover the Alamodome, the Freeman Coliseum, and the ATT Center. And of course, what San Antonio brings to professional wrestling. I'm from San Antonio, so I wanted to start with San Antonio. Calling the series Pit Stop, so welcome to Pit Stop, Episode 1, San Antonio and Professional Wrestling. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you get notified every time I drop another episode of Pit Stop. Hit the intro. Before we do a deep dive into the memories of San Antonio wrestling, here's a little background on San Antonio, Texas itself. San Antonio, Texas is the 7th largest city in the United States. It is home to the Alamo, it's home to the San Antonio Spurs. It is a city that is consistently growing, and as of 2021, over 1.45 million people live in San Antonio, Texas. That's a little bit about the city itself and what's there. Now let's talk about another thing that's there, the venues. Now mainly talking about the venues that have held these major companies such as WCW, WWE, TNA, and AEW now. But let's start with the Freeman Coliseum. Now the Freeman Coliseum opened in 1947 and has a seating capacity of 11,700 people. Now I have footage from wrestling shows that I've been to at these venues, so I'm going to throw these in each of them. The most recent wrestling event that I went to at the Freeman Coliseum was AEW Dynamite Holiday Bash, December 21st, 2022. My personal opinion about the Freeman Coliseum, it has no bad seats. Wrestling events here, you could probably snag really good tickets for like 25 to 40 bucks. Another thing, out of the 3 venues I'm covering today, this place probably has the best acoustics for like the Allstate Arena in Chicago. I mean, probably not that great, but of these 3 venues that I'm covering today, it probably has the best. And it helps that it's a smaller arena compared to those 2. But here's some clips to demonstrate that you can get a good view from anywhere and how good the sound is in the arena. But now it's time to talk about some of the moments from Freeman Coliseum. Earliest Freeman Coliseum wrestling event I could find was a WWF house show, March 25th, 1989, where the WWF champion Macho Man Randy Savage took on the Intercontinental champion, the Ultimate Warrior, where they had a title for title match, but it would end in double disqualification, so both champions retained the championships. Since then, the Freeman Coliseum has held many house shows, 2 AEW events, and the list of WWE pay-per-views goes as such. Tuesday in Texas, Survivor Series 1994, and an NXT TakeOver San Antonio in 2017. The Freeman Coliseum is actually where Dude Love made his WWE debut. On July 14th, 1997, Mick Foley would debut his new character, Dude Love, which actually came up when he was a teenager, and he would win the WWF Tag Team Championships with Stone Cold Steve Austin. That was a little bit about the Freeman Coliseum. Now it's time to talk about the AT&T Center. What used to be the SBC Center opened in 2002 and was home to the San Antonio Spurs. It has a maximum capacity of 19,000, but typically for concerts for WWE, they take a big chunk of that because of the stage and everything. Now this is typically where they go every time they're in San Antonio now. And B pay-per-views are done at the AT&T Center. House shows are done at the Freeman. And if you have a Big 4 pay-per-view like the Royal Rumble, it is done at the Alamodome. Now the AT&T Center is the much newer looking arena compared to the other ones in San Antonio. How loud it gets is kind of different from the Freeman because the Freeman has the acoustics and everything. And the AT&T Center is kind of like way taller, but some clips of how loud it can get at the AT&T Center. These are from previous WWE shows that I went to at the AT&T Center. Alright, so those were some clips from the AT&T Center WWE events. Now, I think they're the only wrestling promotion that's really ran the AT&T Center, formerly known as the SBC Center. But their first wrestling event that was ever there was a SmackDown taping, June 19th, 2003, where Brock Lesnar and the Big Show would main event. Brock Lesnar would defeat the Big Show by disqualification. That was the first event there. Let's talk about the best moments that came out of events at the AT&T or SBC Center. First off, if we're going to talk about this venue, we got to talk about the best event that ever happened at the AT&T Center, and that has to be the Royal Rumble 2007. Now, the bigger matches on the card was Batista and Mr. Kennedy, Umaga and John Cena in a last man standing match. And of course, one of the greatest Royal Rumbles of all time, but without a doubt, the best final two of all time. You have The Undertaker, who is entering at number 30 and who would become the first man to ever win at number 30, and Shawn Michaels in his hometown of San Antonio, Texas. And these two who have arguably put on the two greatest WrestleMania matches of all time at WrestleMania 25 and 26. Now, you give them, like, I think it was about 10 minutes of one-on-one as the final two in the Royal Rumble. It was just perfect. That was the 2007 Royal Rumble. Other things that happened here at the 2008 WWE draft, this was the arena that for some reason Vince McMahon's big dollar statue, because he was doing the $1 million giveaway, landed on him, and yeah, that's when Triple H tries to go save him. It was a different storyline. TLC 2009 takes place in the AT&T Center as well. That is where Sheamus beat John Cena for the WWE Championship in a tables match, where it kind of looked like they messed up the finish a little bit, but who knows what happened. But this would be main evented by Jericho taking on DX, where DX would win the Unified Tag Team Championships. 4 years later, Vengeance 2011 takes place at the AT&T Center, where Mark Henry and the Big Show break the ring. This is on this pay-per-view. CM Punk and Triple H actually teamed up to take on Awesome Truth. That was the Miz and R-Truth back then. And in that match, Kevin Nash makes his return for the first time since SummerSlam 2011 and costs Punk and Triple H the match. And in the main event, Alberto Del Rio retained his WWE Championship in a last man standing match against John Cena because of Awesome Truth once again. There would not be another WWE pay-per-view at the AT&T Center until 7 years later for Hell in a Cell 2018, which was, to be honest, probably my least favorite event I've ever attended. Highlight of the night was definitely Ambrose and Rollins taking on McIntyre and Ziggler. The ending of the show was just I mean, Lesnar returned, so that was cool to see him, but it ended in disqualification, or it ended in no contest. A Hell in a Cell match ended in no contest. Another positive of the show, I guess, was Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton. That was a pretty good Hell in a Cell match. Fast forward past a couple events. The Raw after the 2020 Royal Rumble, after Edge returned, Edge would make his first appearance on Raw in years, and he would do this little speech, but Randy Orton would come out and actually turn on him, and that was a really good ending to a Raw. I mean, it was sad because it was Edge getting hurt again, but it was a really good ending to the show. Year after that, RK Bro would actually form at the AT&T Center. Last big cool moment was Brock Lesnar would be revealed as Roman Reigns' opponent for Day 1, which didn't end up happening. He would actually have this would be the first segment with Sami Zayn, where those segments are really funny and really entertaining. That was the AT&T Center. Now it is time for the host of this year's Royal Rumble, which is in a few days, the Alamodome. I'm recording this on Thursday, January 26th. I kept going back and forth of whether or not I want to wait to post the video the day after the Royal Rumble so I can throw in some clips from the show, but I decided not to because I'm going to have so much content with what I get there, and that'll be a separate video. But so I can release this on Friday the 27th, the day before the Royal Rumble, see what y'all think about it. So the Alamodome opened in 1993 in hopes to bring an NFL franchise to the city. That didn't work out. But when it was built, it was really nice, but it's the way stadiums were being built literally a few years after kind of just wiped their chances of ever landing something like an NFL team. Personally, I think it looks really cool. It has like the 4 pillars coming out with like lines coming off of them. I think it's cool. But then again, I'm biased to my city. They have been able to secure some Final Four, NCAA Final Fours actually. Spurs used to play their home games there. The UTSA Roadrunners in the college football currently play their football games there. Also host of the Alamo Bowl. That is an NCAA bowl game. But now it's time to talk about relationship with professional wrestling, mainly WWE. The very first wrestling event in the Alamodome venue was the 1997 Royal Rumble. Listening to stories about it, and basically a super show for Shawn Michaels to get his title back in the main event, which is what happened. He would defeat Psycho Sid to regain the WWF Championship in the main event in his hometown. Now, the listed attendance for this was 60,525. The other big moment in the show was Stone Cold Steve Austin winning the 1997 Royal Rumble after being eliminated, but the rest were distracted with something else. Stone Cold was able to walk right back in the ring and eliminate Bret Hart to win the match. Now, the 2 wrestling events that were here after, not WWF or WWE, whatever you want to call it, it was actually WCW episodes of Monday Night Nitro in the Alamodome. Now, WCW had ran like domes before, like the Georgia Dome, for an episode of Nitro before, so this was crazy, but nothing new to them. The February 2nd, 1998 episode was filmed at the Alamodome, and the main event was Sting beating Macho Man Randy Savage by disqualification. I couldn't find the attendance, and I guess things must have gone well because WCW would come back 5 months later to film another episode of a Nitro, not even a pay-per-view or anything. In the main event, Goldberg would defeat Bryan Adams to retain his WCW World Heavyweight Championship. And in the dark match, Goldberg would again retain his WCW World Heavyweight Championship against the Giant, who is the Big Show. Now, there would not be another wrestling event here until 2013. It's not WWE, it's not WCW, because WCW was bought, like 12 years before that. It is actually Total Nonstop Action TNA Lockdown 2013, which the main event was Bully Ray taking out Jeff Hardy. And that is where Bully Ray betrayed Jeff Hardy and joined Aces and Eights right in front of Hulk Hogan. And I think the storyline, he was dating Hogan's daughter or something like that. I know that TNA used only a fourth of the stadium, and it was about 7,200 people in attendance. Looking back, the setup was actually pretty cool. But again, there would be another gap of no wrestling shows in the Alamodome until 2017, when the Royal Rumble finally returns to the Alamodome. 20 years since first arriving in the Alamodome, being the first wrestling event there. It had highs and lows in the show. I think the Reigns and Kevin Owens match was really good. John Cena and AJ Styles absolutely stole the show. Bayley and Charlotte had a women's title match as well. Lowest part was the reaction of the crowd whenever Roman Reigns entered at number 30. Because I guess there's some unwritten rule that if you have a title match, then during the night you can't enter. But I feel like plenty of people have done it, and it's just a lot of people just didn't like Roman at the time. He was the big dog, kind of generic a little bit. Great what he's done now. However, it came down to Roman Reigns and Randy Orton, and Randy Orton would actually end up pulling off the win to win the 2017 Royal Rumble match. And this Rumble match was stacked. It had Goldberg, Brock Lesnar, Undertaker, Roman Reigns, Bray Wyatt, Randy Orton. And as you know, there was another gap in between, but Saturday night is the Royal Rumble 2023, and it should be a good one. But if you want to see that content, you got to stay tuned. Go check out my channel. If you're watching this a couple weeks after, that means I probably already uploaded some Royal Rumble content. I have a vlog up. I have some entrances up. So if you like that kind of stuff, go check that out. Make sure to drop a like. Leave a comment what you think about this video. What city do you want next? Do you want Chicago, Philadelphia, LA? It would mean a lot to me if you hit subscribe and turn that bell notification on so you get notified every time I drop a video. Check out the podcast. They're very interactive, and we have fun talking to y'all. Without further ado, see you later. Be safe.